What's up, everybody? So I want to do a video series on scale because I think it's one of the most important subjects and concepts to understand when you're building a SaaS business. And also, it's one of the ones that is taking most for granted and not really appreciated for, let's say, the nuances that it actually contains. In this first video, I'm going to define what scale is, which might be counterintuitive to some, but I hope it makes sense to you. And then in the following videos, I'll go over the three types of scale, one video each, which is cost scaling, value scaling, and distribution scaling. Then the fifth video is going to be on market dynamics and scale dynamics. So that can be sort of pivot scaling, diminishing return scaling, linear scaling, and so forth. And then the final video, I will go through the product ecosystem framework I use to design for scale and discover scale or potential scale in a product ecosystem, which I use both for my consulting clients and when I do investing in startups. So enjoy. Scale essentially is the acquiring of superior unit economics through volume. And inherently in that sentence means that superior has to be superior to someone else. So this is the first misconception I see with scale, is that most people just think scale equals big. Compared to what? And the what is usually left blank. People don't really consider that. They just say, well, compared to what I was yesterday, which is the wrong comparison. Scale is a measurement of superior unit economics in the market that you're in compared to your competitors, which allows you to gain a competitive advantage, meaning you make more money per unit of sales than your competitors do, which means that you will outgrow them and beat them in the game of business due to your scale that gives you your competitive advantage. This is the way to understand scale. Let's break it down with an example. If you make something for a dime and sell it for a dollar, right? So 10 cents is the cost and $1 is the price, you make 90 cents. Great. Now do that a million times and you're starting to have a business. However, because you can make it for a dime, so can your competitors. So new people will come in, also make it for a dime, and then they will sell it for 90 cents. So they will undercut you on price. This is the basic principle of competitive economics and capitalism, which is new entrants will enter your market and compete with you on price until the profits that are left over really aren't worth it for new competitors to enter. That is called the cost of capital, which means that if we have taken the same, make it for a dime, 10 cents, and sell it for competitive pressure as push it down to, let's say, 15 cents, does it really make sense for me to enter that market and spend all the effort and time and overhead to set up a business that can create a product for 10 cents and sell it for 15? Maybe not, so I'll stay out. At that point, that market has reached a competitive equilibrium, and the 5 cents that are left over in each sale, when you subtract overhead, should be equivalent to the market rate of capital and the interest rates that you can get everywhere else, right? So this is the basic economic principle. And usually when you're doing an economics class, they'll talk about, well, long term, which can be like, it's like a fairy tale land of, run the scenario enough times. At some point, this will happen. Behind this economic principle is a profit formula, which is number of units sold times the profit you make on each unit, right? Equals profit. And the profit you make on each unit, that sort of subset of the formula, is the price you charge less the cost you incur by delivering or producing that unit. Okay. And I would argue that scale is affecting any one of those three core components, either number of units sold, which is distribution scale. So you can sell more units and acquire customers cheaper than your competitors. That is a specific type of competitive advantage that you can have, which is maybe you have a network effect or you have some sort of other distribution effect built into your business architecture that allows you to do that. That is a competitive advantage. Or on price, you can have value scaling, meaning that, well, maybe your product becomes more valuable the more people use it, or maybe you have brand power, you have something else that allows you to charge more for a similar product compared to what other competitors do. Coca-Cola is a great example here. It's a commodity, but the brand is not, hence Coca-Cola can charge more. Or the last part of the profit formula, costs, which is, well, you can make it for less. Everybody else makes it for a dime, you make it for 8 cents. Okay, so you have 2 cents left over. So you could sell it for a dime and then still make money, and everybody else would be forced to essentially sell it at cost or at a loss, even to stay in the market, right? So that's a cost competitive strategy. So scale essentially is to gain a superior unit economics in comparison to your competitors on one of these 3 measurements: distribution, value and price, or costs. That's it. There are no other versions of scale. If scale, hence size, isn't affecting your unit economics in this positive way to improve your position as it is compared to your competitors, it's not scale. Then it's just size, right? And this distinction between scale and big or size is something that I see a lot of entrepreneurs and even investors make over and over again. They're just thinking, well, if we can make it for a dime and we sell it for $1 and then we do it 1 billion times, then we're making, well, 900 million. Great business, at scale. Where did scale come into this? You cannot consider scale until you consider the competitive dynamics in the market that you're in and say, well, by setting it up this way, we will be able to acquire customers over time as we run this scenario and we grow at a cheaper rate than our competitors. Or we will be able to sell at a higher price because our brand is really strong. Or we will be able to produce it at a lower cost because we have efficient mechanisms of production. Okay, that's it. If you cannot pinpoint one of these 3 levers or sources of competitive advantage, or more than one, then you do not have competitive advantage, and you can bet, that's the law of economics, that competitors will enter your market, take away your profits by underbidding you and taking your customers. Okay, so this is the way I essentially see scale. It is as a comparative competitive metric in the market you're in that measures the superiority or lack of superiority of your unit economics on customer acquisition costs, on price, and on delivery costs. Okay, so next videos, I'll go over the scale dynamics and some examples on each of those 3 types of scale. Then I'll go into the, let's say, activation and deactivation of these types of scale in a later video. And then finally, I'll go through the framework itself in the last video. I have a framework I use to map out scale and plan for scale long-term in the strategy of a company. Okay, so take care.